Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Brazil-Canada Mining Insights, Technology and Innovation. This is the 8th session of the second Brazil-Canada Virtual Mining Conference, which is bringing a series of important discussions on regulatory framework, capital markets, ESG, diversity and inclusion, exploration, smart mining and innovation, mining financing, among others, and is taking place virtually since May 31st in preparation for the 16th Brazil-Canada Conference at PDAC 2022 that will happen in person in Toronto between June 13th and June 14th. I am Mariana Nadai, Senior Marketing Manager at the Brazil-Canada Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be your MC today. And before we start, I would like to share a few reminders. The platform you are in provides the opportunity to connect with your peers, colleagues, and professionals from the mining sector from all over the world. Don't be shy, and before or after the event, go to the networking tab and check out who else is here online with us. There's also a matchmaking tool available for you. Meaningful connections can happen online, so let's make the best of it. The discussions today will be in English and Portuguese. We are offering simultaneous translation for the whole program, and you can access the Portuguese or English channel by switching the language in the interpreter icon on the bottom right side of your Zoom screen. Estamos oferecendo tradução simultânea. As apresentações de hoje serão em inglês e português, mas você pode acessar o canal de português ou inglês através do ícone de tradução simultânea na parte de baixo da sua tela. You will be able to ask questions to the panelists as the discussions happen. Please use the Q&A box in the Zoom screen to send questions to our speakers. We will do our best to answer all the questions during the session, but if any of the questions cannot be answered live, we will revert to you after the event. We have a packed agenda for today with a presentation by Alvaro Bragança, Director, Business Development, Mining and Metals at Promon Engenharia, focused on technology applied in engineering, design, and mining. And after Alvaro's presentation, we'll host a panel discussion which will address how technology is shaping the future of mining by showcasing the importance of the relationship between mining companies and startups and innovative companies to find solutions to industry problems. The panel will bring Leandro Rossi, Executive Director at the Mining Hub, moderating the discussion, Luke Mahony, Director for Innovation and Technology at Vale, and Steve Gravel, Manager at Center for Smart Mining at Cambrian College. After the discussion, we'll have the panel Mining Startup Showcase startup pitches featuring 5 startups that will present their solutions to various problems such as sailing management, alternative energy sources, wellness, operational management, and funding. We also have here today Peter Hawkins, Manager Director at Mellowhawk Logistics and co-chair of the BCCC, who will deliver our closing remarks. So without further ado, I would like to invite Alvaro Bragança to join us. Alvaro, over to you.
Mariana, thank you very much for the introduction, and good afternoon to everybody, to audience, and also to my fellow panelists. It's a great honor to be here at the Mining Sites Technology and Innovation section, and especially open the opportunity to Promon Engenharia to talk a little bit about the recent technology that we have been applying the engineer design for mining companies. We'd like to go forward in this discussion, bring some kind of presentation. I'd like to share with you a couple of slides that I hope that is available for you. Mariana, it's okay in this side. So a little bit of trouble to get inside, but that's okay. So the idea is we divide here the presentation in 3 steps plus some case. First of all, we'd like to share with you some very few Promon highlights, and then we move forward to the technology applying the engineer design, and finally you try to come up with the engineer to operation approach that we use here in Promon, all based on technology that we'd like to share with you. First of all, a couple of numbers for you that about Promon. Promon is a 62 years old company. We have been in this particular time realized plus 2,400 projects, being plus 445 in EPC and EPCM format. We have been working since the foundation in plus 40 countries, and the characteristics of the company that we are 100 employee owned. So we have a 100% ownership for the employees. Nowadays, we have plus 400 collaborators, and we are running on the top of 100 million reais. We have all state-of-art of PMI knowledge here, and also we had in the last years, in particular in the last one, 0 lost time accidents. That is quite important for us. The satisfaction index is on the top of 80s, and net promoter index on the top of 60, and for sure, we are also a reference as a safe and environmental benchmark in Brazil. Despite we work on the mining metals for 45 to 2 years, we have been working in different sectors like infrastructure, power, oil and gas, and manufacturing and chemical as well. So this produces a strong knowledge that we can concentrate all this knowledge and when applied, and for example, mining metals sector. A couple of successful track records that we have here. We have been developing Serra do Salitre, that is one of the major projects going on in Brazil, as a fertilizing plant. Also, we have been developing some gold projects, especially to Aura Minerals, and Almas is one of these projects. And we have been also developing today a lithium project for Sigma Lithium, that is a quite important project under development in Brazil. And in the past, we developed Vanadium in Maracás, alumina refiner, that is the major refiner in the world, and also our mine industrial facility for Vale in Oman. Put Promon in perspective, so I share this picture with you that I think that's very known for everybody. We have a kind of value and time graph where we have the different phases of our mining project, since the exploration and discovery, feasibility and construction, mining, extraction and operation, and the final land, that's the closed site and rehabilitation, 2 zones, uncertainty driven and risk driven, and we put ourselves in a value creation zone of the feasibility and construction. So the area we work in the mining project is from the conceptual design, basic design, feasibility studies, and to management and construction till the operation of the facility. So this is the area that we work in the project life cycle for a mining project. We see ourselves as a proof execution methodology company, where health, safety, and environment are our top priority. We are fully digital in our projects, and this is the core of our presentation today. We are talking about full digital approach, doing mining engineer for mining projects. And we have the mindset to go to the engineer to operations. So we think the project from the end, from the final, on focus in operation. Then we organize all the ramp up and startup to produce such kind of operation, though we manage the construction interaction, and then also we put around all integrate engineering and procurement activities. So the focus is on the final operation. That is really what our client demands from ourselves. Going directly to the technology applied engineer design, it's good to have the landscape overview today. So we have, as you know, even more volatile and uncertain environment. We just are passing through a big event that's a pandemic around the world that disturbed different supply chains in the mining metals. We are suffering and looking at a conflict in Eastern Europe that is also distressed some supply chain in the mining metals. There is a clear energy transition movement in the world that pressure many supply chains, for example, for copper, nickel, lithium. They are under stress regarding the demand on this particular metals to be part of the energy transition, and this causes a pressure on demand side that need to be overcome by good engineer design and capability to put the plants in operation. Looking on the other side, our client's agenda, the inflation is part of this recovery of pandemic process. Inflation is around the world, in South America, in Europe, in the US, and every part of the world. And cost and value of money is becoming even more critical in the agenda of our clients. On the other hand, our clients are requiring us that we be part of the station of knowledge of their network. They want the companies to be part of the process of knowledge and integrated with the capability to generate value in their network. And for sure, the engineer to construction to operation integration is part of this challenge that we are doing together with our clients. So this put through the engineering companies like Promon, the challenge to be fast, efficient, and reliable, and to get the engineer to construction with operational driven approach. Of course, we need to be balanced what we call sustainable development goals. That the way that we look at promote sustainability, we look at these parameters defined by United Nations, and we use in our projects such kind of approach, integrating technology, sustainable policies, and local development, integrate with the communities that we are touching on. Talking directly about technology, digital, to bring digital to a engineer design is not a kind of a piece in one, a process. In fact, it is conceptually born since the beginning. So since the initial phase of conception of the project, the conceptual engineer design, basic engineer design, detail engineer design, supply and procurement, all activities of management, construction, and action, and also the operation and maintenance are integrated since the beginning. So the digital transformation is not a piece of everything, it is in fact the concept that we bring since the beginning of the project, and we deliver by the end to the operation of one. So this is what we explain in this particular area. We try to divide or segment the idea that you present here, what we call in database engineer design. So we have the 3D, where we have the multidisciplinary disciplines engineer, like for example, mechanical, civil, electrical, and engineer that are physically drawing the facility itself. We have integrated with the physical design all scheduling activities. So the way that each activity is done in the project is it's proper schedule in the project. Also, we integrated the cost and the 5D. So the scheduling or the activities are integrated together with the cost, so we can measure the progress, the physical and the financial progress together with the modeling of the facility itself. And we bring also all sustainability requirements that are in fact required by the plant. For example, if you need to have a footprint in water, we need to reduce the waste. So we have a dry stack solution. Everything is connected in the modeling and the scheduling and the cost. And also all this is integrated with OEM. That's the part important. We need to design the plant as to operate and have the maintenance of the plant. And the safety, last but not least, safety is surrounding all the design and in a different phase. So what do we do in engineer design today? Since the process simulation to the digital engineering commissioner to digital operation. Everything is digital, everything is interconnected, and provide us a background of integration of all data in the project. We use what we call marketing available softwares in the market. So we use Aviva, we use Smart Plant, and so on. But the key strategy here is not only to have a good software available in the market, but integrated it in a solid structure that is capable to deliver value to the client. The value is the kind of design the facility, measure any kind of progress, implement that facility in the construction and actually commission that and provide the right operation and ramp up in operation. So this is the concept that we use in what we call this digital strategy, and the values and benefits are basically, if you have what we call traditional project, we have lips of information around the project. The lip when we have the engineering, then we have the procurement, when we have the manufacturers inside, when we have the commission and so on. And look, moving in a digital line, we have all data integrated from manufacturers, for externals to the project, and we have one single body. We have a way of working with centralized information, more collaborative environment, and working all teams together. That's what we call a digital asset. By the end of the day, we have a digital asset integrating all information that is extremely helpful to the client by the end of the day. Not to scare you about with this slide, but it's just to show you the level of detail we have in any kind of software integration. So we have the 3D with piping, architectural, mechanical, whatsoever inside this one. Every discipline is inside here. We can have a review. We have clash requirements every day. And from the functional side, we have a 2D design with the P&I. So you were saying about the process and instrumentation diagrams. We have also cable list. We have instrumentation data. We have process data. Everything is integrated from the functional facility with the physical facility. And not all this. Every quantity that we produce in the projects, for example, the cubic meter of concrete, the weight of steel structures, they can be bought by purchase orders. They can be managed in a field warehouse, and they can integrate what we call material management system. So everything is mapped. All equipment material that is used in the service order at the site is mapped and controlled by the execution, integrated with the physical and, of course, the scheduling procedure. This is on the engineering side. We can have a look about the management side, and could be digital as well. Every piece of the project management, we can have a dashboard to control it. For example, I just brought here the progress, the physical progress of different disciplines in the project, civil, mechanical, electrical, but I can have also the progress of the procurement activities. I can have also the progress of construction and management activities. I can have the progress of any holding points. I can take care about the development with a video about the advancements at the field. So everything could be mapped, and that provides a tremendous advantage to the manager people to look at, to anticipate eventually deviations, to take decisions at the right time when the deviation occurs, to provide anticipation to many other things. So this is extremely an important tool to have this dashboard built up to control the project and offer, for example, in smartphones, any kind of control is easy visualizate, and we can have this benefits and the project control concept. So we have in one hand the engineering, designing, and the other hand, we can have the management of the development of the project itself. So going to the engineer to operation, this is a kind of a conclusion that we would like to put here. That is a kind of a resume that we have. And we have what we call, by the end of this right side here, a turnover package. The turnover package is what we are going to deliver to the client by the end of the day. So this, when we finish the project, you develop in one T platform, this developed package. And of course, this is a sum of functional design, for example, process simulation tools and so on, from geometric design, 3D modeling, diagrams, engineering integration tools. This, of course, is a consequence of the deployment that we have in different programs like IWP and SOP that leads to field commissioning. That is an important phase behind the operational commissioning. We also have all requirements on OEM and operation and maintenance, tool, equipment, specifications, spare parts, trade-offs, everything is prepared and integrated in what we call operational readiness plan that is also delivered and integrated in the turnover package to the client. So what we provide by the end of the day is a kind of digital twin that the client could have the advantage to integrate with the maintenance plan, could integrate with the training plan, could integrate with the operational facility, and could test some conditions that are not designed, for example, conditions by simulation. So everything is possible to be done after the physical plant has been implemented and the project is delivered to this turnover package. Here to finalize this short presentation, we have some technology, some what we call technology enablers. We use laser scanning, for example, where we have an old facility or existing facilities that it would be very complicated to go at the field. So we can have a laser scanner put in a dot cloud and integrate it for a 3D facility that could lead to a new project. We have also drones. Drones we can use in different ways, and we have been using in a flights every week to verify what's the progress of the plant, to compare with the 3D modeling, 4D modeling. We verify what deviations happen, for example, in a week or in 2 weeks, to take an opportunity to provide some, I would say, adjustments. QR code we have been using in Totem. So instead of bring a lot of material and documents with you to the field, we can go to the Totem, put the QR code and have access to any kind of document in the project that's available, including the 3D modeling. We training our design reviews in augmented reality, so we allow the engineers to go inside the plant as they are walking in a real one. And all this information can be covered to analysts and artificial intelligence, provided this kind of digital twin. Some cases, just to show you the drones. So this is example that we have the facility in the model, we have the facility in the picture where we follow up the advance of, for example, the field activities. This is a QR code where we have the access to a drawing at the field. So we are in the construction field looking for one drawing, so we can go to this dot and have access to this one. And finally, we have the dot cloud using 3D modeling integrated to produce the physical design of the plant. So this is what I would like to share with you. Of course, I will be here to any questions, any doubts that you raised from this presentation, and was really a great opportunity to share this with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alvaro. It's really amazing to see how Promon is helping us to reshape the industry, and thank you for sharing all your knowledge on this subject with us. And now for our next panel, how technology is shaping the future of mining, I would like to invite Leandro Rossi, Executive Director at the Mining Hub, Luke Mahony, Director for Innovation and Technology at Vale, and Steve Gravel, Manager at Center for Smart Mining at Cambrian College. And so, Leandro, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you, Mariana. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Starting after this Alvaro's panel's presentation with a good quality and a good detail, so it's a very good warm-up for us. Nice to talk with you also, Luke and Steve. But before we start this panel, we are talking about how technology is shaping the future of mining. But before that, and it's a part of our respect and oriented towards the inclusions process for the visually impaired who maybe are accompanying this panel. My name is Leandro Rossi. I have light skin, brown hair and eyes. I'm sitting in a chair using a headset ear and a camera in my notebook. I will have a pleasure to go in my share my computer screen with these two more people, Steve and Lucky. So everybody, welcome aboard, and let's start in that. This panel will have around 1 hour, 60 minutes, split by presentations of Steve and Lucky. And after that, we have a Q&A sessions in order to address some doubts that the people have. In terms of questions, just go to the chat in that platform and sending us these questions that our people will address it and supporting that to arrive. So just for the beginning, as I mentioned to you, my name is Leandro Rossi. I am the Executive Director of the Mining Hub. Mining Hub is one of the mining companies' initiatives of open innovation that are here in Brazil. We are based on Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, the states of mining here in Brazil. And I am leading that initiative. We are in the 3 years of these projects, and it's in the essential we are connecting from one side the challenge and difficulties from the mining sectors, and these challenges we are just asking all the time if this is relevant for the company and it is relevant for the sector. Then after that we make a kind of discussion with all the members in order to define prioritization. And after that, we are going to the market and make the hunting process, trying to find some startups, find some companies that can solving that challenge and solving that problem. So based on that, we are directly involved with the mining sectors from one side, the suppliers of the mining chain, and the startups. So in the end of the day, we are trying to enhance the mining ecosystem here in Brazil and avoid the only mining companies doing business with big companies. So the idea is to how can we optimize, how can we enhance the mining spaces, and it's allowed to participate all the startups from Brazil and from abroad. We used to have several companies participating in our challenge cycles. We are in the 80th challenge cycles right now. So just follow us in our social media and our website that you can find all the information about challenges, what happened, and what we can do. So let's go and start for this amazing presentation. We will start with Steve Gravel. He's the manager of the Smart Mining Center at Cambrian College. He will speak a little bit about Canadian side in terms of open innovation. So Steve, it's with you, my friend.
Hey, thanks a lot, Leandro. I appreciate that very much. Am I able to share my slides, or would they be shared by the administration?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And
Perfect.
do you see the presenter slide?
Now we see what we want to see. It's perfect.
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Good.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me. I'll quickly go to the next slide because I have a bit of a story to tell at the outset. So the really handsome guy on the left is me. And I just wanted to say that I did actually get to go to Exposibram September 2019 in Belo Horizonte. And it was awesome. We got a chance to meet a lot of those companies you're talking about, Leandro. We worked with your predecessor, Claudia, at the Mining Hub when she was there, and we had a really good time. And we actually got to go on a tour of other colleges and universities. One of them in Ouro Preto, which was a beautiful city, or I should say small town, but yeah. Very picturesque. And we want to get back there. We actually have 12 active students that are from Brazil who are in our mining engineering program in Sudbury right now. So that effort was to get more of a relationship with Brazil, because there's so much in common between Canada and Brazil when it comes to the natural resource sector. So that's something we did. We want to get back there, and now that COVID is starting to drop off, hopefully we can get back down there. So I was dressed way too warmly on this trip, I should say. I should have definitely worn a golf shirt. I was sweating even in September. So thank you for that short story and allowing me to tell that. Of course, my name's Steve, and I'm the manager of the Center for Smart Mining. The Center for Smart Mining is a technology access center, which is a federally funded research hub funded by the feds here in Canada. And we're one of 60 that are part of the Tech Access Canada network of research institutions. So we're hosted at a community college, or a trades and technology college in Sudbury, Ontario, which people who know mining tend to know where Sudbury is. So that's where we're located. What our goal at the center is to do is to really facilitate the production of new prototypes, scale up manufacturing, solve business challenges, and provide customized training. And like I said, there's 60 of these across Canada, but they all focus on various different sectors of interest. So you can imagine that, on the coasts, there's some research organizations that are part of the TAC network that focus on fisheries. In the plains, there's some that focus on smart agriculture, the Oil Sands Research Center in Alberta, and all of the different sectors in between. And since we're in Sudbury, we chose to focus on mining. But we're not just focused on mining generally, we're focused really on mining technology. And the specific lens we take is facilitating the adoption of new mining technology in the mining sector. And we do that in two ways, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But the two ways are through technical research partnerships, but also specialized short-term training and upskilling. So we'll talk about that more in a second. Since I'm a business person, I have a business background, and I'm definitely not an engineer like some of the people who've joined us on our call. I decided to reach out to some of the engineers that are in our core research team here at the center. And I just jotted down some things. And I said, if you could time limit it over the last 2 months, what are some of the technologies that you're seeing that are really impacting sort of what we do and what our clients are doing? And we sort of distilled it to some of these points that I'll share with you now. Obviously, in remote control and mobility technologies, you can see a picture on the right there. That's actually a Sudbury-based company with all those screens, Hardline Solutions. And what they do is they actually do teleremote and somewhat autonomous vehicles in the underground mining sector. And that's a great thing to do. And I think they're having a lot of success doing it. But what it made me think about is the way we interface with machines is changing. So you're not getting on a cage at 7 o'clock in the morning and going down, to the great depths that our underground mines have here in Sudbury. That you can envision a future workplace where you actually go to an office building and you operate your scoop tram or your haulage truck from a different space. So what does that actually mean for downstream technology? It means a lot. We're going from gauges to touch screens, and there's a bit of a demographic shift that's happening within mining as well. And centers like ours are trying to help companies that are both making the technology, but then also adopting the technology in Luke's case and in Vale and all the other end users. How can we make that as easy a transition as possible? And sometimes those are technical challenges of development, but sometimes it's training challenges. It's do we have the right people with the right skills, and can we get them in the right place? One of our HT technicians, heavy duty equipment mechanics, said, and this is something now I'm trying to popularize, we're swapping our tool bags for laptops when we go and think about how we maintain equipment. How do I plug into the CAN bus system, especially on an electric vehicle? How do I diagnose what's going on? But then there's this interesting dichotomy we're still in. We're in this transitionary period where you still need to know how, and this is their words, still need to know how to crimp a hydraulic hose, because this might be a piece of smart equipment that has very powerful sensors and all kinds of really expensive technology, but it still lifts things with hydraulics. It still brakes with hydraulics. And you still have to have that sort of mixture of hands-on skills and to some extent how to interact with software interfaces. So there's this really interesting mix right now as we're in this transitionary period where you need sort of people with both of those kinds of skills. And then one other thing that I talked to our electronics group about was just the good job that mining has done over the last decade, I should say. And this is reflected in I took a cheat peek at Luke's slides. That I'm glad this is true. I think the mines are doing a really good job at gathering data. This sort of IoT revolution, sensors, getting more data from all of our operations, both underground and surface plants. We're doing a really good job. But the question I always ask is, do we have the technology platforms in place to actually get business inferences out of those data? So we have to make sure we make good use of it. And then I'll just end on this slide by saying that all this new technology has downstream impacts for those who are maintaining it, but also upstream for those who are designing and building it. I took a long time on that slide, so I'll endeavor to go quicker. How am I doing for time, Leandro? Okay, I'll take that as good.
Yeah, you're fine. We're ahead of the game. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Thank you, Peter. So what we do, as I mentioned, we do two main things. And one of the things we do is applied R&D with our clients. We have a core team of researchers here at the center, but then at the heart of everything we do, we have student teams that are paired with each of those. So they get real problem solving, real hands-on experiential learning opportunities from a variety of different academic backgrounds. So our core goal is, again, to de-risk technology adoption, shorten development timelines for the development of new technology, and then ensure that a pipeline of highly skilled tech-savvy workforce is available to both the technology developers that operate within the mining supply and service sector, but also the big adopters, the big mining companies that would also want those types of people. And the types of projects we engage in are typically around proof of concept, pilot studies, usability testing, and again, that pipeline of talent from the resulting projects. And it's really to sort of take aim at any of the barriers that you see in mining tech adoption that we try and look at. So you can see some of these pictures on the right. The big wide guy on the top left is me. That's at the McLean Engineering Underground Test Mine for an event a while back. And then you can see the bottom picture is the Glencore Center for Innovation, which is where all of our engineers and advanced equipment are located. I'm going to offer a couple cases and points here because I know that there's a focus from the Mining Hub on sort of small companies and SMEs. I'll talk about two projects we worked on this last year. We do about 30 to 35 applied research projects with companies. So we're a team of 12 full-time staff here. About half of them are technical and the rest are administrative leeches like myself. I think the first one I'll mention is with a company that's local to Sudbury called Sophie Inc. They're a software company at heart, but just in that tradition or in that need for gathering more and more data, they had us develop a wearable device for miner biometric feedback. So being to understand just all of the feedback you can get sort of from the quantifiable self sensors you can get. So you can imagine, why don't I just put on an Apple Watch and go underground? Anyone who's ever been under there knows that those don't last too long. You got to take a little bit harder of a look at making that a bit more resilient to the environment. So what we came up with was actually a custom electronic solution that embeds in more of a sleeve than on a watch that might have a bit more of a profile that sticks out. And so we developed something that's resistant to abrasion that still gives them all of the same readings that they need to do their data analytics work on the back end. And just the other one I'll mention while I have time is with a local company called Ionic Mechatronics. And this is for a surface exploration drill rig, not that one there. It's not a major drilling site, but I thought I'd just use it to illustrate because we can't show the actual unit. But we developed an automated drill rod handling robot that was able to take the drill rod from the hopper and then move it over on top of the next drill rod, and actually using advanced mechanism wheels actually threaded on the next piece without any human intervention. So what we're trying to do is remove people from harm's way and look at a safety perspective to be able to introduce a robotic solution for them to be able to now offer as a solution that Ionic offers to their clients. And again, there were student teams involved in both of those, and they were super pumped by the results. I'll just move on here. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, because I think I mentioned, adopting new technologies in mining, there is a technical challenge, and that's largely what we do at the center, is to help with those technical barriers. But often the barrier is also a human resource problem or a training problem. So it's more focused typically on people and training. Does the workforce that we have the requisite skills to safely and efficiently adopt new technology? And the answer often is we don't know, or we're not sure, and we don't think so. So what we try and do is offer short-term intensive technology-specific upskilling courses that help companies with particular technology problems. And I'll just mention a few of them. One that we launched last year was the Industrial Battery Electric Vehicle Maintenance Certificate Program. As you can imagine, as underground mines in particular move towards electrified underground fleet, they're left kind of with a bit of a skills gap because there's largely diesel mechanics that maintain and the equipment underground. So we developed an upskilling program to help with that. And then in view of what we hope to do as an industry around advanced data analytics and AI and machine learning adoption, one of the things we realized, and Luke, we're actually working with some folks within Vale locally here in Sudbury. What we hope to do is actually level up everyone's understanding of advanced data analytics. So we're coming out with this fall a data analytics for miners short course that we'll able to provide some of that. And then the last thing that we're doing sort of in the short term by next year is an underground IT networking course, which will allow people that are already employed in the mining sector to come back and take a refresher course to be able to troubleshoot networks underground as we see more Wi-Fi and LTE being deployed in those settings. So that's sort of how we come into play. And these are all short courses, I should say. The BEV maintenance course is 60 total hours because we know that these have to be bite-sized chunks for our mining partners to actually be able to get some value out of them. And I think I'll just leave you with an exciting new development. It's to do also with battery electric vehicles. So by this time next year, we'll have commissioned a brand new lab here at the Center for Smart Mining that's focused on battery electric vehicle powertrain development and testing. So we'll actually be able to help OEMs and end users understand more and more about the powertrains that they're going to be adopting. What the end users have told us is that they're sort of in a data gap situation where when it comes to mine design and development, there's a lot of questions with regard to battery runtime and vehicle performance. So we're going to open this lab to be able to help not only the end users, but the OEM community design vehicles more effectively and be able to limit some of those design challenges as they commercialize. I've said a lot. I'm available to say more if anyone has any questions, but for there, I'll leave it there for now.
So thank you, Steve, for your awesome presentation and this experience in Canada and mining segments and several initiatives on there. Let's move on to a Luke presentation. And after that, we can go to the Q&A session. Luke, is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, man.
Let me just check. Can you see my screen? No, fantastic. I'm quite excited to be here. So thank you for the invitation. Both myself and Vale are very supportive of this Chamber of Commerce and looking forward to sharing a few thoughts and ideas on where we see how technology is shaping the future of mining. And so, as mentioned, my name's Luke Mahony, based here in Toronto in the base metals business, and look after the technology and innovation area and technical disciplines for the global base metals business. And so, as I flip through these, I just wanted to start with why this is so important for Vale. It's so important for many reasons. And quickly, I'm just showing up here our one page where we really start to link everything from the purpose, values, behaviors, levers, and ambitions. And what we can see is one of our key levers is innovation, which is something that we're really starting to transition and get a lot serious and really commit resources from the top down. And also that's so important, all those levers for the ambitions, where to be benchmarking safety, best in class, and also to be a sustainable miner. And so very much at the core of what we do. And so quite excited to go through this presentation and to see what questions we have from the audience. most people are aware, Vale, global mining company, a lot of assets, predominantly known for the iron ore in Brazil, pellets, but also in Canada, such a big player in both nickel, copper and cobalt. And for that, we've got, specifically for the base metals business, we're based in Toronto, Canada, but we've got operations within Canada, Manitoba, Newfoundland, Labrador, and also refineries in Clitic, Japan, and nickel operations in Indonesia, and a fantastic set of copper assets and nickel assets in Brazil also. Now, when I got asked to talk about how technology is shaping the future of mining, it's a very open question, and a lot of people talk about this. And for me, technology has always been and always will be foundational to improve the safety, productivity, and sustainability of our existing mines, but also the future ones, especially the new portfolio that's making its way through the feasibility stages inside the portfolio. And for me, I'm seeing 4 distinct themes in technology, in how it's really shaping. And one is optimizing today. And I think Steve touched on a few of those points, and so I'll reiterate some of those. Second one, it's allowing us to think differently about how we do extract that mineral and that resource in a sustainable, productive way from the ground. A big topic for the mining industry and Vale especially is managing the showstoppers. When you start talking about safety, sustainability, tailings dams, technology is critical for that. And then when you start looking at all of that, overlaying, how do we really change our mindset and DNA about technology inside the mining game? And so the first one, as Steve mentioned, it's really about connecting the environment. It's looking at what we have and connecting data. You can really improve recovery of minerals. You can improve throughput. You can improve reliability, and at the same time, reduce the energy consumption. And we have to start to automate what can be automated. A lot of the plants are not automated, and even from vehicles, specifically underground, are not automated. And so how do we start to leverage that? We're starting to see great use cases across the globe, and it's something we as an industry, especially in Canada, need to start to accelerate, not just in future projects, but for especially those long life existing mines that we have at the moment. We need to know what is knowable, and this is the data collection. This is real-time sensors, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things. And how do we start to integrate a lot of those functions, very complex, but it's second by second, such as you got vibration, noise, temperature. How do you bring that data together to understand how the plant is performing? But also, when you think of a maintenance point of view, how do we get this data and look at possibilities from a reliability, and how can that plant or mine fail? And there's a lot of ways where we can start using this data from historical, third-party sources, OEMs, and you start to bring all that together. We've seen great potential, but at the same time, we've got to really get to that core data and start to measure and capture a lot of that data, which our plants is producing, but it just gets left by the wayside. And then really that system view, when you start to have a look at where we are with data and the trucks, but you start to put that in an integrated chain all the way into that final product that the customer wants to see. And so it's, how do you really make the right decisions at the right time with the right information in the right area of the process? And so that's where we start to see, and I suppose Vale specifically, we're now introducing a remote operating center up in Sudbury, and this is where looking to get utilization, increased productivity, which we see up to 30%, and really minimizing the non-value added activities. And so how do we get more predictability, reliability? And then finally, you bring all that in where you start to model and scenario plan. And this is where you get to understand there's a lot of risk in the data that you have and you don't have. And so you need to really understand and model what are the potential situations. What's my understanding of the resource compared to production, all the way up to a customer demand? And you can start to play and run these models at a really fast pace. And so I think that's going to be essential, especially for giving directions and decision making in the future. So that's optimizing today. Thinking differently. This is technology has advanced, I suppose, in the last 5 to 10 years, where we can really start rethinking about mining processes. And so this is where we've now got technology that can run faster, run more remote, give us more instantaneous decisions, be it from a manual driven hydraulics to an automated electronic data, where we can now really come back and understand what's happening. And so I'll talk on the next slide a few of the examples that I'm seeing in the industry also. And then we start talking about these virtual twins, very mature in the automation and manufacturing sector, very new from the mining point of view. And when I talk virtual twins, this is the real-time virtual representation of an area of the mine, a process, or in its whole system, where you can start to model, visualize, predict, and give feedback on different performance or different scenarios. And so this is where you continually update and really get to start to understand the life cycle of the asset, all the way up to that unit piece of nickel or copper, all the way to the customer. And so this is where we can really do much more detailed design options, rapid prototyping, and really start to have a look at different efficiency and quality improvements. So we're seeing 100% of the EV manufacturers and the top pharmaceuticals are using virtual twin solution, but the mining are yet to use and pilot and scale such solutions. So that's something where we will start to see the virtual twin accelerate in the mining industry. We need to extract the minerals by minimizing the waste. And so a 1% unit of nickel or ore that we mine, we dig a big hole, we bring it all the way up to the surface to capture that 1%, and then the rest of it gone to waste or tailings dams. We need to get much better at really being selective in the ore and minimizing the waste. Not that we haul, but also from a liability that we bring that to the surface. And so it starts to add an element of risk. And so we need to start thinking differently about how we do that, be it different types of leaching, be it different types of biomining, be it very selective type mining areas. But that's where we need to start to see the change in mindset. And I think that's where technology is really giving us an advantage. And we're starting to bring to life the science fiction of yesterday. So I was mentioning about biomining. There's a lot happening in Canada. I think Canada is really driving a lot of this work, where we can start to use microbes to accelerate the oxidation, help us start to recover what we already have on the surface, but how do we start to incorporate in the future ore bodies? And so that's quite an important piece. And then decarbonization. It's fundamental, but it's value adding. It's not a liability. It's not something that's going to cost us money. It's something that it's non-negotiable, but we will start to see the benefit. Our customers of our products want that, but you chase carbon, you chase efficiencies, and we start to think differently about the processing that you use. So it's really thinking differently how we do that. And for example, here I went and took a few snapshots of what I was able to capture on the web, and we talk about biomining, and this is, as I said, using microbes to extract minerals, but it also really starts to add the stability of the dam, reduces acid drainage, and you can use it for a coverage to sequestrate carbon. And so you can see that we've got some of this keyhole type mining where you really chase the ore body, and what does that look like? You've got new mining methods that's the Swedes are looking at because of what technology is enabling. We've got what Jetty's looking at, which is ways of leaching and extracting from low concentrate ores. How do we extract the minerals? We've got in the middle Volvo type, autonomous type trucks, where you can look at more of swarm mining, where instead of bigger is better. How do you get to smaller, more integrated control type mining? So it used to be scale, let's get bigger and bigger. It's about getting smaller and smaller, or right sizing. What does that fleet look like? And then we've got some active CIMIC, which is Canadian Mining Innovation Council, and which is something that Vale participates and leverages off quite a lot, where we've got things like mechanical cutting, dynamic charging, sensor-based ore sorting, different ways of really crushing the ore at a much more higher efficiency. And so there's a lot of things that are happening where we are really rethinking about how we do mine. The showstoppers, it's one which normally gets bypassed. I think when we talked about technology, or we've got events like this where we talk about technology, it's really essential that the industry builds trust, both internally, but also externally, where we operate and how we operate with our community, with our society. And so it's really bridging that trust gap. Everything should be transparent, and then everything must be managed in that way. And so you talk tailings, seismicity, safety, ESG. These are very important topics that we need to leverage off technology to make things safer, but also start to build that transparency and that trust that we are managing that risk to what's acceptable, not just from the mining industry, but from society. We need this because that's the permission that we seek if we are going to transform the industry and start to bring in this new technology, this new way of mining. We still need approval from the sins of the past, from the mining industry. And so technology is critical for that. And we're seeing a lot of work in how we're utilizing drones, how we're utilizing sensors and satellites for slope monitoring. And that's such an important aspect, as I said, not just from a safety, but for that permission to allow us to transform as a mining industry. And the fourth area, and this one more underpins of how we are moving as a mining industry, and you start to reflect about all this change in mindsets and where we are, and we start to think that all mining companies must be technology companies. But for me, that's not true. We need to be aware of technology. We need to be good and get really good at collaboration. We need to enable others to execute. And so for that, we need to be very clear on what the problem that we're solving, not create a robotics group that's developing solutions. That's not our core, and actually it can become a distraction for the mining industry. But at the same time, we need to really enable others to execute. That's so important. We don't need to build and write all the AI and machine learning algorithms. It's not our core competency. And I think so many times mining companies, we keep trying to enter in this world, whether it's intentional or whether it's because we hire someone that's actually good at that. When we do that, we start to lose focus of our problem identification and what we're trying to do in terms of being really good at extracting resources at the cheapest, safest, most sustainable way. And so a key part of this is we need to enable others to enable us. So we are still in the business of mining, but this is more than extraction. It's really creating that ecosystem and supporting that. And for that, it takes a lot of vulnerability in terms of being clear of what we know and what we don't know. It's really encouraging others to work closer. It's not, and one thing for me, it's whether it be at startups, whether it be consultants or OEMs or equipment manufacturers, you go to them with an open book. Hey, here's our problems. They start to open their book. Hey, here's some ideas. This is what we're working on. Perfect. Can we accelerate that? Yes, that'll be good. And by the way, here's one or two other mining companies that will help accelerate that in a very collaborative manner. We don't need to sort of sit there and wait for that piece of equipment to come in the catalog. We need to start to encourage that. And we don't know what we don't know. And for me, it's really trying to understand what is that ecosystem where we can get like-minded individuals, be it from mining companies, be it from OEMs, be it from research, be it from other areas. How do we start to incubate ideas, start to think of different ways to really disrupt how we look at the problems, and support that. And so it's really getting fundamental. And we know that co-development, you can get results faster, up to 10 times cheaper. And actually the solutions become more robust, especially if you've got a couple of mining companies. And so co-development starts to lead to different platforms. And then platforms versus some, let's say, bespoke solutions, you can get faster deployment at lower cost. You can start to really implement and start to see the benefits that ultimately these solutions provide. And so this is so important, I think, from the transparency, from the collaboration. And I think as mining companies, we really need to be aware of that. And also from the supporting ecosystem, need to challenge mining companies that we'll wait until we get asked or they know what they're doing. No, I want that outside ecosystem to start to challenge how we think. And we are doing that internally. There's a lot of areas inside the business that are looking at setting up, participating in different areas, such as what we did with Boston Metals and a few others. So it is happening. We're just a lot slower, I think, as an industry compared to, let's say, the oil and gas and some of those other industries. And so finally, summary slide is optimize today, know what needs to be known and really learn from that data. We need to think differently. Yes, we can optimize current processes and systems, but what does technology enable? What's expected, not just of us, but of society? And so there is a better way. Managing the showstoppers, that's really getting that permission to transform. And then that DNA and mindset is really enabling others to enable us. And I think that that's key for how we need to move forward in terms of technology is shaping the future of mining.
Thank you, Luke, to share with us how can we apply, and more than it, how can we running innovative environment and development inside the company. And as you mentioned during your presentation, mining companies, they don't want to be techy companies, and I'm totally agree with you. It's a matter of how can we bring all the environment, the ecosystem to work together and coordinate the efforts, but we need to pay attention on that. But thank you for your insights. And now moving to the question sessions, I will invite Steve to get back to the panel, because we can address. Oh, thank you, Steve. I received some questions, but I just wanted to address one to Steve and select another one to Luke. Start with Steve. Steve, you mentioned several initiatives and works that you are developing that also in Canada, supporting mining sectors and mining companies, but you know that some segments and sectors are being connected and work together. So my question is, from your perspective, how can technologies from other sectors can be incorporated into what you see as mining needs? So how can we collaborate among segments?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's of course a number of mining technology companies that were born and bred to serve the mining sector, but increasingly often we see companies from outside of mining that are trying to adapt solutions to fit with what mining company needs might be. One thing that we're experiencing, and I think it's actually a bit serendipitous that Luke showed that slide with those Volvo haulage trucks, because they use a platform. I think that platform uses NVIDIA as one of its image processors to do the autonomous hauling. And NVIDIA, of course, didn't start as a company that was offering solutions to mining companies. It was through that ecosystem approach that they ended up doing a joint venture with Volvo to offer those haulage trucks. So there are a number of technologies from other sectors that could be brought to bear in the mining sector that just need a bit of a different approach. I mean, obviously, working at 40 degrees Celsius and 100% humidity is just one that jumps out at me. There's lots of different changes that have to be done to technologies. But one thing that the colleges, the Cambrian College is doing right now is plugging into the Canadian and the Ontario automotive sector more and more, because there's a lot of really interesting technologies and technology companies around collision avoidance, autonomy, IoT, any on-vehicle technology that you can kind of think of that I think is appropriate for adoption, or at least adaptation into what we see, at least in mobility in mines. And I think, shamelessly, we sort of position the Center for Smart Mining as a bit of a hub that those companies can come to see if their technology would have a benefit to the mining sector and to the clients we work with. So it's been more than once, I can tell you, that companies come to us more often on the software side and say, is there any way we could do a pilot with some of your companies to be able to see if it's a viable solution? And sometimes it works, and sometimes, the mining sales cycle is too long for them to wait and stick around, right? So, but I think, the point is that there are a lot of adjacent places where we can find tech. They just have to have the patience and the stick-to-itiveness to wait for that PO, because when it comes, it is lucrative, and once you get spec'd or hard spec'd by an engineering company, it could be a long-term relationship. So
yeah, I'm agree. Just to adding a point in that, here in Brazil, as in Mining Hub, we saw some companies that used to work from different segments, and then I would like to work in mining. Of course, yeah, it's well pleasant, but we need to develop some proof of concept, starting running some testing, and then integrate it in the mining segment. So it's very good. It's very good to have this inter-segment experience in order to optimize and to bring some new points, and how can we do that. But one of the points that we can highlight, that from the mining perspective, from the mining side, as they are in general big companies and a huge process, they have to be they have to be in line with the startups and the small companies' perspectives, in order to a well relationship established, in order to accept at the end, in order to avoid some constraints in terms of supply side, in terms of contracts, in terms of that, in order to stimulate that companies to jump in the segment and then implement several solutions that. But thank you, Steve. It's a good point that you share. Look, I have one of questions for you. During your explanation, during your presentation, you show some emerging technologies in the industry. Which one Vale is focused on, and what the potential constraints as for a successful implementation?
No, thanks, Leandro. One of the highest profile ones, if I focus on the underground specifically, is mechanical cutting. And this is something that's been trialed throughout Canada for a lot of times, and even in Sudbury, we've tried lots of different types of mechanical cutting, and it just fails to really compete with drill and blast. And so what we're doing is, so we're working with Komatsu on a different type of undercutting type machine, and also doing that through consortium, where we can get other players from Glencore, Agnico, and others to get visibility on the results, because we don't all want to try in isolation from that point of view. We want to be able to share. And at the same time, I want somebody from another mining company is, hey, what about this? Why isn't this working? Have you thought about this? And for me, that's when you really start to accelerate tenfold what you can do on your own. And so mechanical cutting and also mechanizing very laborious tasks, especially in the development cycle, is very important. We are getting deeper. It is getting hotter. We are getting more seismically active mines. And so how do you start to remove the mine workers from that face environment, start to mechanize some of those activities which normally would not have been able to do in the past, that then you can start to do those away from the higher risk or the high exposure. And so, as I mentioned, mechanical cutting is one which we are looking at one type of unit. There's other units that are out there and are starting to evolve, and we're also keeping an eye on those and watching how they're maturing. And also robotics on charging the face. How do we do that, and what does that look like? And so to answer the second point on what's key for success, one is to be very transparent and open is number one, not just internally, but with our peers and even the greater ecosystem. But also, when we start these experiments, being clear on what success looks like. we bring these machines in, we're not going to compete with traditional methods straight away. We want to prove hypotheses, understand observations, and to be very clear that how do we become a learning organization? How do we move if necessary, or how do we stop? Same thing as fast failing, but that's also a lesson that we need to be clear as a company. So it needs to be more than an individual base. It needs to be very much having a look at what are some of the fundamentals of the problem we're trying to solve, and how do we start to run the experiments to resolve that, and then do the experiment, go all in and understand what it looks like, and then look at the results and make sure, okay, yes, if pass, we go this way, if not, we go here, but to do that in a very open and transparent way.
Oh, very good looking. We receive another question here about decarbonization strategy and process. I think both you, Steve and Luc, feel free to comment on that. Elisa sent a question that Canada has been creating many tax incentives for carbon zero projects for mining companies. I'd like to know if any of you can talk about your experience in terms of tax credit and some government grants for the R&D projects. Steve, you can give some colors on that, and look for decarbonization. I know that Vale, it's a huge path on that, so feel free to talk a little bit.
Yeah, I hope I'm not breaking news here, but I did see something that came out today called the Critical Minerals Research and Development, or Research and Demonstration Program, which particularly looks at battery relevant critical minerals. That's by the feds to be able to do pilot plants on getting that ore moving towards battery development. But I guess I'll speak to what I'm most familiar with. So we largely work with startups and SMEs. And one of the things I did mention, those two areas, one is training as a barrier. The other is the technical barriers inherent with technology adoption. And the third is obviously access to capital and access to incentives to do this work. And that is sort of our bread and butter at the center, like where I work, because a lot of our work that we do with companies is offset by government funding, either federal or provincial government funding. So the client will contribute hard cash of a certain percentage, and then to de-risk the endeavor, the feds or the province will ante up another portion to make it worthwhile. So they're de-risking the exploit in that way. The other thing a lot of our SMEs get a lot out of is something called SHRED, which is the Scientific Research and Experimental Development Tax Credit, which is something that again, SMEs are eligible to do. So every hour, every material that they spend on an R&D project, they get a certain percentage back in tax relief. So those are the two that really, I mean, we operate a lot of our projects on government grants to de-risk. And then obviously, when you do have a chance, take a look at that Critical Minerals Research and Development Demonstration Program. But Luc probably knows more about any tax incentives specifically for mining or for mines.
No, thanks, Steve. And you're right, there's a few aspects to it. There's incentivizing the startups that need the capital injection to really start to transform. I see a lot of the grants that are coming through are after high TRL, and so naturally a lot with what the government, hey, we want something that's almost there and we're just going to help get it over the line. And so, as Steve mentioned, how do we start to move those companies with ideas to that point where we can now look at an application and scale up? And so that's very critical that we need to reflect on. But also, if we look at where can the government play a big role, for me, it's really to open up the legislation opportunity to extract mineral resources in a very efficient manner, in a right way, in a sustainable right way. How can we accelerate what's required from the processing point of view? And we've got big deposits, and we've talked about some of the ones up in Manitoba, etc. Is how do we start to extract those? If we look at what the demand is for these critical minerals, how do we start to open and access these mineral deposits that are that are not there yet in the pipeline, and how do we start to incentivize those? And so for me, yeah, they're very important to really initiate. It shouldn't be the only driver. The company should have that natural portfolio and push, which we have in Vale, to really decarbonize and incentivize and accelerate one way or another. And we're doing a lot of that internally with a carbon shadow price, where we're really incentivizing risk-adverse project managers to think about what are lower carbon solutions. And that's expected when we start to look at projects. And so once we start to take all that in, yes, it's important, and I think it's definitely needed to accelerate the decarbonization. It's how do we get those juniors and those startups to a point where they can really compete, and then how do we start to enable and incentivize, I suppose, those big critical mineral deposits to be brought in at a very productive, safe, and sustainable way.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Look, and just to add a comment, here in Brazil, according to the companies in the mining companies, Vale is part of that. We are running a strong platform in terms of decarbonization projects during the next 2 years. So we're starting that, not make a kind of assessment, but it's a different in terms of level of maturity in terms of company. So some companies are initiative in terms of that perspective, and some another one are capturing and selling carbon. But one of the, Elisa, one of the projects that I know here in Brazil, they are try to make it easier and for the companies. And what I know that stock exchange in São Paulo, they are doing a strong project for doing that, and to make it easier and to make it clear to overcome some difficulties to the companies to access this carbon credit market to all companies, depending on the level of the maturity of this company, try to make it easier for the company. So it could be implementing that and enhance that market here in Brazil. So guys, first of all, I'd like to thank you, both of you, for this panel discussions and to share some thoughts with you. It's as amazing panel. It's a pleasure for me to receiving that. Thank you, the Brazilian Chamber, for the invitation. And I just send the words to Luke and Steve for the final consideration, and then we can close that panel. Those panel. And if someone has additional question, kindly send it to the people in the organization. Then we have a pleasure to getting back with some measures. So from my side, thank you, and it's a pleasure to talk with you, Luke, and you, Steve. And Steve, next time here in Brazil, just let me know. And if you have some final considerations, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was I gained like 10 pounds when I was there because I was eating pão de queijo.
Already.
So
Right.
many of them. So I will hope to next time I'll maybe eat a vegetable or two when I'm down there.
Look,
no, fine. I suppose I can't beat Steve on that, but no, for me, it's hey, we all play a key role in this, in technology. I think what Steve mentioned, so critical, and it's important that we support that, enable that, and also embrace, and so it's such a huge ecosystem in the technology for the mining industry. And as we say, a rising tide lifts all boats, and technology is exactly that. It's not something you do on your own.
Yeah, thank you. So to all the participants, thank you to following us and during this panel discussions. Now I'm back to Mariana and Peter. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Leandro, Steve, and Luke. It's great to see how the mining industry is improving with the new research and technology. And now we are going to hear some of the protagonists that are helping the mining industry with these new technologies. So I would like to invite Abdias Magalhães Gomes, business partner at Pronto, Ingrid Polini, CEO of Safet Dockets, Fred Newman, CEO of Timeo Technologies, Ricardo Rey, CEO of Handbag Investments, and Wagner Neto, co-founder at Industry Care, to deliver their pitches. And each of you have 6 minutes to deliver the pitch. So why don't we start with you, Abdias? E agora eu vou mudar para o português, porque o Abdias fará a sua apresentação em português e nos contará um pouquinho sobre a empresa Pronto. Abdias, Por favor, é com você.
Muito obrigado pela oportunidade. Todo mundo está visualizando a minha tela? Olá.
Perfeito.
Mais uma vez, eu agradeço a oportunidade. Todos aqueles que me sucederam, gostei de ouvir muito que a pegada mundo, ela não é só Brasil, mas é mundo, nessa área de transformar a mineração num ambiente mais sustentável, saudável e realmente próspero. E a pegada que a Pronto propõe é essa frase de efeito: pronto para transformar sua mineração em um modelo sustentável. Então, essa é a razão para a qual fomos unidos. Em 2017, a Pronto iniciou um projeto que visava a integração de mulheres em condições de vulnerabilidade social através da capacitação técnica, e, a partir desse momento, entendendo que o grupo que eu representava tinha uma pesquisa bem avançada na área de mineração, então a gente precisava de agregar essa expertise, fizemos uma união. Em 2020, fomos oportunizados num processo do Promon Hub, tendo como a empresa madrinha a Companhia Brasileira de Alumínio, onde tivemos a oportunidade, em época de pandemia forte, apresentar resultados auspiciosos, interessantes. Em 2021, efetivamente, realizamos uma prova de conceito de todas as nossas expertises, de todas as nossas criações, inovações de P&D, usando igualmente a bandeira da CBA. E em 2022, nós estamos em desenvolvimento com uma planta piloto industrial, materializando todo aquele trabalho realizado em 2021. A ideia toda que eu gostaria de passar para vocês é que a Pronto ela foca suas ações no reaproveitamento de estéreis, rejeitos e resíduos de mineração e siderurgia, promovendo a inclusão social, gerando novos negócios e, sobretudo, consoante, respeitando as diretrizes da OMS. O problema, todos nós já sabemos, o elevado custo, risco de gerenciar o passivo ambiental disposto em barragens e pilhas necessitava, clamava pela uma solução que pudesse resolver ou dar um reuso adequado para esses rejeitos gerados. Para isso, não pode sabido que no Brasil nós temos uma deficiência muito grande de normas técnicas, uma legislação específica para a área de rejeitos. Nós tivemos que esbarrarmos com essa barreira e, obviamente, barreiras foram feitas para serem transpostas de forma inteligente. O aumento das restrições legais impostas pela gestão de resíduos, em função de todos aqueles casos que acabaram percorrendo o nosso Brasil, a magnitude da geração dos rejeitos é muito intensa, e a dependência é muito grande que as cidades têm das ações das empresas de mineração para se realizar sua gestão de rejeito bem integrada. A solução que a Pronto propõe, uma solução integrada. Então, nós apresentamos a possibilidade de aproveitar o rejeito estéril, transformando em matérias-primas, em cadeias ditas primárias, secundárias e terciárias, como vocês vão ter a oportunidade de observar logo na sequência. Além dessa solução, é óbvio que a gente precisa de treinar e capacitar a mão de obra local, fazer a integração da mão de obra no seu domicílio, na sua região de origem, para evitar o êxodo. Então, quando a gente fala em solução integrado, a gente pensa naquela questão da mineração circular. Só que a ideia Pronto, é que nós temos que trabalhar numa mineração com uma economia mais esferoidizada, num 3D. Nós temos que abandonar a ideia do planar e trabalharmos essa questão do 3D, porque é nesse contexto que o mundo gira. Recuperar e concentrar os minerais disponíveis nos rejeitos estéreis era o foco principal, recuperando através de tecnologias que foram, inclusive, objetos patentes, objetos de estudos, e que vocês vão poder observar logo à frente. E diminuir cada vez mais a dependência financeira que as cidades têm em relação às mineradoras. A nossa proposta de valor é reduzir o passivo ambiental, beneficiar rejeitos estéreis via concentração e separação de fase, promover o desenvolvimento social e econômico da empresa e da comunidade, gerando emprego e renda. Este é um modelo que foi apresentado no Mine Hub através de um projeto que nos foi apadrinhado pela CBA. Então, no contexto geral, tudo integrado, fortalecendo estratégias de sustentabilidade, trabalhando e reduzindo o envio de rejeitos para as nossas barragens, gerando impactos através da fabricação e do uso de matérias-primas em outros setores da indústria em geral. Então, o case de sucesso da CBA ele ficou muito bem contextualizado. Por quê? Porque nós criamos uma rota de processo onde nós aglomeramos por geopolimerização todos os rejeitos. Viabilizamos essa rota através, inicialmente, de uma separação de fases cristalinas, realizando um beneficiamento que foi possível produzir pavers para a indústria da construção civil usar no seu sistema de pavimento. Essa é uma filmagem, uma foto, que apresenta muito bem os trabalhos da nossa prova de conceito, realizada em pavimentação urbana, em base, subbase, pavimentação viária no interior da unidade CBA, localizada em Miraí. A rototecnologia representa aglomeração a frio e a geopolimerização. Ou seja, o grupo desenvolveu um pilotizador onde você cria um ambiente propício para aglomerar com qualidade e resistência as fases que foram inicialmente separadas. Tudo isso foi possível pela customização de um moinho pendular. Então, a ideia é de que um equipamento de conhecimento notório em toda a indústria da mineração é o moinho pendular. Criou-se, então, uma estruturação diferenciada, inclusive metodologia esta que foi patenteada, focada nessa customização, e assim viabilizou produtos gerados que vão substituir os agregados comumente utilizados na indústria da construção civil, a serem aplicados em piso intertravado, na pavimentação urbana e na produção de concreto e argamassa. Uma síntese geral é que toda a tecnologia que foi perpetrada, que foi pensada, ela tem, no primeiro momento, uma cadeia dita primária, onde eu pegamos o rejeito, e concentramos as fases sílica presente, o minério presente, seja minério de ferro, que seja um minério de bauxita, que seja um minério de cobre, ou de níquel, ou de nióbio, não importa, e separamos os argilos minerais. A partir de rotas específicas para cada uma dessas tecnologias, por aglomeração, por pelotização, por briquetagem, por calcinação, criamos produtos que a gente diz que são as linhas secundárias, cimentos, pozolanas, aglomerados, agregados e tinta. Isso tudo com uma pegada muito forte com redução da emissão de dióxido de carbono, que se propõe hoje no mundo contemporâneo. E para abrilhantar essa história, a nossa cadeia da linha terciária, ela nos deu aquilo que você precisa, nos deu aproximação com a indústria da construção civil, da siderurgia, e viabilizando o seu uso. A validação de todo o nosso processo passou, no primeiro momento, numa escala laboratorial, ele necessariamente vai para uma escala industrial, de uma forma integrada, onde o CAPEX e o OPEX é estudado, e, sobretudo, utilizando essas escalas laboratoriais que a gente tem de parceiros infinitos, como vocês vão poder observar logo a seguir. Uma outra escala, a escala industrial, a gente desenvolve, é necessário desenvolver, harmonizar a rota de processo, o projeto, consoante a necessidade da empresa, a capacidade produtiva que a empresa precisa. Por essa razão é que a gente chama que a nossa solução é uma solução integrada, porque ela fala da capacitação, ela fala do desenvolvimento de P&D, ela certifica e valida e atesta, e ela cria o CAPEX e o OPEX, ela entra na escala industrial, ela implementa, ela coloca o posto em marcha e ela treina e capacita a operação e, finalmente, ela dá o monitoramento por o polimento e como desenvolve o mercado dessas matérias-primas, tanto na escala primária, secundária e terciária, como eu mostrei anteriormente. Como tudo na vida, tudo é feito de parceiros. Parceiros é que não faltam para o nosso grupo. Nós conseguimos trazer a CBA, Instituto Votorantim, conseguimos trazer a Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, é o meu reduto inicial, pesquisador de 35 anos, e outras empresas. E, modernamente, conseguimos trazer, esse mês passado, uma empresa ligada à área dos ativadores magnéticos, que é um desenvolvimento P&D, que nós vamos começar a área de desincrustação e de melhoria de performance em sistema de flotação, deslamagem e caldeiras, trocadores de calor que as nossas empresas possuem. O grupo nosso é constituído de parceiros e sócios. Eu, especificamente, a Bidia, a Wilde Jorge é a nossa engenheira civil administradora, e os parceiros, Fernando Lameira, atualmente pesquisador de CDTM, e a Glaucia Marcossi, que é a nossa especialista em geopolímero. Mas hoje nós temos catalogado 12 expertises diferenciados, representados por pessoas de nome no mercado. Agradeço a oportunidade e estamos prontos para mudar esta engenharia da mineração, trazendo novos rumos para o setor minerário no mundo. Obrigado mais uma vez pela oportunidade. Passo a palavra de retorno, por favor.
Eu que agradeço, Abdias, pela apresentação da Pronto, e eu tenho aqui algumas questões para você antes da gente passar para a próxima, para a Ingrid falar um pouquinho da Safety Docs. A minha primeira pergunta, na verdade, é sobre se há algum pedido de patente ou patente depositada dessa tecnologia apresentada por vocês e da separação de fases minerais.
Sim, sim. Nós entramos no INPE, no Brasil, no Instituto Nacional de Propriedade Industrial, um pedido de patente que corresponde a essa customização do moinho pendular, porque é a peça que cria um novo horizonte de separação de fases com eficiência, que carinhosamente a gente chama de teias de aranha. Nós criamos algumas teias internas, onde a gente consegue pegar um rejeito que tem lá 1/3 de sílica, 1/3 de argila mineral, 1/3 de finos de minério de qualquer espécie, e conseguimos gerar pilha com 95% de sílica, pilhas com 95% de argila minerais e pilhas com 85% a 90% do mineral ou do minério e dos finos de minério. Então, resposta positiva, sim, e já temos 2 outros pedidos que estão em análise pelo INPE, que envolve a geopolimerização, igualmente objetivando criar essa aglomeração a frio que a gente tanto deseja.
Ah, muito legal. E qual é a capacidade de aproveitamento de rejeitos e estéreis da solução de vocês?
Interessante a pergunta e fique muito certo que tudo é customizado consoante a necessidade, mas nós temos desenvolvimento para plantas de pequena produção, 5 toneladas a hora, plantas para 20 toneladas a hora e plantas desenvolvidas para 40 toneladas a hora. E, obviamente, nesse contexto de que a mineração ela tem que ter uma certa intermitência, nós podemos dizer que, com muita tranquilidade, 5 unidades funcionando em simultâneo, naquele princípio de quem tem um não tem nenhum, nós podemos falar aí no processo de geração de até 200 toneladas a hora, sem a menor dificuldade. Ok?
Ok, obrigada. E, por fim, eu gostaria de saber qual capacidade pode ser considerada nos experimentos em fase piloto industrial e fase industrial.
Na realidade, a capacidade em piloto industrial, a gente recomenda 5 toneladas a hora, o que nos daria um horizonte para você desenvolver mercado, validar as ações, entender os detalhes, as especificidades em função de cada mineralogia diferente do seu estéreo, do seu rejeito, do seu resíduo. E, numa escala piloto industrial, viabilidades econômicas começam a acontecer a partir de 15 toneladas a hora. A gente já tem muito estudo de análise de viabilidade para pegadas aí de 15 toneladas a hora. É uma coisa muito tranquila. Com investimentos que, às vezes, eles assustam a simplicidade, porque as rotas de beneficiamento são rotas normais que todas as mineradoras usam, que não tem nada de excepcional. Então, o processo é, de fato, muito simples.
Muito bom, muito legal. Eu agradeço novamente, Abdias, pela sua apresentação. Queria saber se você tem alguma consideração final.
Não, eu agradeço a oportunidade, tenho a certeza de que o Brasil está no caminho certo, e eu fico feliz de saber que vocês, junto ao Canadá, estão numa parceria que êxito vão acontecer, porque o Canadá tem muito a nos oferecer e nós em sentido inverso. Parcerias são extremamente importantes e é o salvaguarda do cotidiano e do sucesso contemporâneo. Muito obrigado a todos e vamos à luta por uma mineração mais racional e inteligente.
Com certeza, com certeza. Obrigada novamente, Abdias. Isso, muito obrigada. And now I'm back to English. I'm switch back to English, and I would like to invite Ingrid Polini to talk about safety docs. Ingrid, over to you, and thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. Let me know when you're seeing my screen, please.
You're good to go. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. We're a compliance and permit management software in a $6 billion market. We represent multiple clients on the Fortune 500 list and made more than $400,000 in recurring revenue last year. I'm Ingrid Polini, the CEO, and this is Safety Docs. Let's talk about one of the industries we support in order to explain the problem that we're tackling. Mining companies are spending thousands of dollars trying to control the risk and compliance of sites, overwhelmed by the amount of work and keeping up with dates and processes. What volume of documents am I talking about? Safety Docs' average customer manages around 20,000 documents a year. The department that is in charge of this has to take a fine budget and deal with the insatiable need for compliance across thousands of documents, and on top of that, track number of pending fines and violations, all while expiration dates go week after week. And while I told you about mining, this goes across multiple industries, spending millions of dollars a year and countless hours on spreadsheets and third-party solutions that don't really communicate with each other and don't really offer efficient project management for risk mitigation. 4.76 billion was the amount spent on regulatory compliance by SMEs in Canada in 2011. And the cost of non-compliance is 2.7 times the cost of maintaining and meeting compliance requirements. A lot of reports show that regulatory burden adversely impact business performances and employment growth, and the revenue impact can come in many forms: closures, fines, reputation damage, audits, and more. Even though document management solutions have been here for decades, they only store and categorize. What we have created and patented is the whole suite of compliance document management, from the risk analysis to the project management of the document workflow. Our solution tackles three main issues that those professionals encounter. So the first is cost reduction, with the number of fines for overdue licenses or permits can be managed to zero, and we have proof of that with our current clients. Dynamic and assertive decisions with graphs and reports, the management team knows exactly where to act next, and a photograph of how its compliance documents look today. For risk management, the loss of information doesn't occur because all of the tasks and all the next steps are in the platform. So for example, if an employee is not in the office or there's a change of personnel, all the information and steps are safely stored. This is the Safety Docs platform. You can see on the left side of the screen all the different reports, risks, and goal management tools that are used by our clients. This helps with future forecasting and budgeting processes. The one at the screen, for example, clearly shows exactly how many documents are due for renewal, expired, and compliant. Simple, clean UX that is user-friendly. Regulatory tech is a $6 billion market worldwide, and it's growing, projected to reach $28 billion by 2027. Top of mind Canadian CIOs, according to Gartner, is cloud software and security. We have been building a strong stable of clients representing several Fortune 500 companies over the last 6 years. And we are gaining traction globally as we continue to onboard more organizations weekly. So using Safety Docs, customers increase the number of compliant documents by more than 35% and are able to zero the numbers of fines received yearly. Our retention rate is 98%, and the number of compliance documents controlled in our platform has an increase of more than 400% in clients, just on the first 3 years of usage. Controlling permits with Safety Docs is just the tip of the iceberg, and our clients today control most of their property documents on our platform. Safety Docs is hitting the right notes, and our numbers show that. We are a SaaS platform with a monthly recurring payment, but with a twist. As a platform that supports companies in management business units, we charge our clients a price per site, not per seat. So our clients can give access to the platform to more and more people in their company, supporting their compliance plans without having to worry about budgeting for the increase in users on the platform. We have a great team working daily with us at Safety Docs. I'm the CEO, focused on leadership, technology, and growing our team of 10 employees. And my background is mainly in business management with passages at General Electric, SAP, Luxottica, and many other tech startups, and specifically in product management and business intelligence. Joined by my co-founder, whose expertise is in permits consulting and business management, Sterling has more than 25 years in consulting large companies and operations on regulatory compliance. And we have worked with several global accelerator programs, as well as continuously working with advisors in our industry. This is Safety Docs, a company built with passion so companies can focus on what they do best and will take care of their paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid, for to present us Safety Docs. It's amazing all the work that you've been doing. And now I have a couple questions for you. So how can Safety Docs support mining companies on day-to-day activities?
We really see that there's a gap in mining where those companies are working with sites in multiple countries, and they really need the support in order to be able to control all the documentation that come from those sites. So the way that we can support them is giving HQ and also each site the capability of controlling all the documents that are required, not losing expiration dates, and then they can focus on what they do best, which is mining.
Great, yeah. And so my final question is, how long have you been in the market and how stable is your startup right now?
It's a question that we get a lot, especially from large corporations. As you can see, we have many clients that are very large in Brazilian and the Canadian market. We have been in market for 6 years. We are a bootstrapped, profitable company, which supports our clients in trusting their solution is going to be in here for a long time and not just run out of cash next year.
Great to hear. So any final consideration for now?
No, if anyone wants to contact me, I'll put my LinkedIn below, and I'm happy to chat and show the platform to whoever has interest in it. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ingrid. And now I'm going to ask for Wagner Neto. Why don't you tell us a little bit about industry care, please? Over to you, Wagner.
Hi, thanks, Mariana. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm going to share my screen. So hello, everyone. My name is Wagner, the co-founder of Industry Care. We help industries on their journey of digitalization and decarbonization. We help them by generating and managing all their industrial data. We monitor the behavior and the performance of their machines and process. And with this monitor, we help industries to diagnose, treat, and prevent any inefficiencies, losses. In this way, we reduce consumption for energy consumption, fuel consumption, and we lower their carbon emissions. We have a platform as a service that includes hardware, a software, and a mindware pillar. Under the hardware pillar, we assume all the CapEx and install all the IoTs, all the sensors and meters necessary that the industry does not yet have, that will generate all the data from consumption, current, and other variables. We use IoTs from partners such as Siemens and ABB that are specific for each industrial context and need. With our solution, with our software solution, we have Industry Care Analytics, which is our solution for visualization and data analyzing. Our tool is very flexible, and we can monitor online and see all historical data from KPIs such as consumption, production, process, and efficiency. In our platform, the clients, the industry can monitor all these indicators, check alerts, see forecasts and predictions, and also suggestions for optimal operations, being able to make better and faster decisions driven by data. We also have a product that is focused on carbon management and monitoring carbon KPIs such as emission and emission intensity per production. We can see forecasts of these emissions based on the production planning, and also simulate, compare, and see scenarios involving greenhouse gas scenarios. We also bring to for industries our data science and artificial intelligence solution with correlation analysis, association rules for the variables, and also we develop specific AI models for prediction or optimization problems, depending on the need of each industry and what they want to do with their data. Finally, our last pillar of work, Industry Care Mindware, that includes our team of experts in engineering and data science that we bring to support the industries to analyze, to understand all their data and see recommendations on what to do with this data, offering improvement diagnosis with proven value engineering. We help industries in all their journey from digitalization to Industry 4.0. So we start with digitalization, making all the connections, all data integrations, entering and planting all the IoTs necessary to generate new data. And in the beginning of our work, our partnership with industries, we bring them visibility, which is to see what is happening in real time, understand what is happening in real time. And then we move to transparency, which is to really understand why that behavior, why that indicator is behaving like that. So see the correlations between other variables and understand the influence on that behavior. Then we move to predictiveness, which is to understand what would happen, like predict energy consumption, fuel consumption, in carbon emissions, failures, for example. And finally, we come to the next most advanced step of Industry 4.0, which is adaptability, which is to adapt no matter what happens. And with our AI models, or prescriptive AI models that adapt and give new suggestions based on process or based on changes in the process. Each of these stages of Industry 4.0 we bring more value for the industry, and we reduce all the decision latency, bringing more valuable for the team that can make better decisions based on the data and understand what's happening, why it's happening. And to address this journey, we attack all their operational costs that hide all the inefficiencies and high consumptions of energy, and of course, all the high carbon emissions. And by attacking these inefficiencies and making the process more sustainable, we also free up the budget that will enable new waves of digitalization and monitoring that will allow us to detect even more opportunities of improvement. All this model, we work with bringing the hardware, software, and miner under a software as a service model, which, and when there's a need for the hardware, for the IoTs, for the infrastructure communication, the CapEx is all from industry care. It's zero CapEx for the industry. And we have in our history projects carried out with large industries from various segments involving online monitoring of parameters related to consumption, production, process, and carbon emissions. We participated 2 times in programs from Mining Hub, the MSTART 5 and 6, and we did some good jobs with companies, Anglo American, Mahony. At Anglo, for example, we did a project focused on carbon data, helping the company to have better visibility and predictability of its indicators. We developed a model for them to have a 97% accuracy in predicting the emissions. Another work we did recently with CSN, where we monitor a few dozen variables in real time of a galvanizing furnace, and we developed an AI model that would suggest the optimal speed to work with the furnace, so they could reduce their natural gas consumption and lower carbon emissions, bringing a potential savings of 5%. We have a founding team that has decades of experience working with large companies and bring successful cases with multi-million-dollar savings and reduction in consumption and carbon emissions. And together we are committing to helping industries become more efficient and more sustainable. So I'll leave here my contacts and the invitation so we can together transform the industries and become more efficient and sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Wagner, and thank you for showing us a little bit about the industry care. And I have a couple questions for you too. So how does industry care work to collect data in industries that already have historical data?
Perfect, Mariano, thank you. So when the industry has data and its mining companies already have a lot of data, we simply understand what data they have. We do integration and we receive how they start. We can receive this in real time, and we do a partner with the IT team to receive and collect this information, this data from various sectors in real time, or we can extract and receive historical data in CSV, in Excel sheets files. So we can organize these, we can do the data mining from our side and insert in our analytical tools so they can better understand all the data they already have. We don't need to enter with the IoTs. We can look for the data and what they already monitor, so we can better understand what they have.
Wonderful. And how digitalization helps industries with their decarbonization goals?
No, perfect. So we have a famous phrase that is, you can't manage what you don't measure. So in the decarbonization, it's the same. Like Luke said earlier, we chase carbon, you chase efficiency. So if you want to go on a decarbonization path, you need to first do the digitalization work. You need to monitor and correlate all your process to really understand what's going on, what's influenced the consumption of energy and fossil fuels, so you can impact all your decarbonization goals. So one is prior to the other.
Wow, yeah, thank you, Wagner. And any other considerations?
Just appreciate and thank you for inviting us and giving the opportunity to this panel.
No, yeah, thank you for being here with us today. And now I'm gonna ask for Ricardo to present handbag mining investments. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your startup, Ricardo?
Hello, Mari. I'm afraid a little bit after 3 good presentations, I'm trying to answer some questions and present our company. Okay, so let me know when you see my screen. Let me know if you change the screen.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a new investment cycle for mining projects. Handbag mine investment is just born. And what is Handbag? Handbag is a platform that connects select investment and attractive mining projects. So select investors. So it's a bridge between projects, early stage projects, and investor that has investment to put in a project and understand the risk in the mining circuit. Okay, we work from the project design until the viability. So it's a fintech. Okay, it's a mining fintech, and we are in accordance with Brazilian crowdfunding legislation. Okay, with a strong ESG protocol as well. We have a efficient strategy for branding and marketing because we are a digital platform and we need to maintain the digital marketing running. We are also developing a blockchain approach to guarantee the confidence and the root of our project listed in the platform. Which challenges we address? We are looking for and supporting exploration projects with no funding, small scale mine operation unable to raise capital investment, and the international, consider international market. The market, the Canadian market, for example, need around 60 new projects in Brazil during the next 10 years, because it's a plan, this TSX plan, get 3 times the current number of projects of company investing in Brazil. Also, existing mine operation with potential to go deeper. So we know that in Brazil, some projects like some garimpo as well are working in an oxide zone, and they have no condition to go deeper. And this is an area or a target for Handbag. All the tailings deposits with recoverable grades and site requirement proper to reclamation. Like we have lots of area that it needs attention in the environmental. So another one is postponing mining projects due to the lack of qualified documentation to obtain proper funding. So you would say qualified person looking for 4101 or job code. That is the 6th area that we are running. And how does the Handbag operate in the chair, the mining chair? So we are running in the beginning, so mine exploration, mining plan, engineering project, and the end of the chain, because crowdfunding has a limit. Now it's 15 million reais per year per project. So we maintain in the beginning and the final chain of the mining project prospects. Okay, how about is the market? So we know in Brazil, some studies indicate that around 70% of the Brazilian surface has unknown. They have no idea what's happened, and they need more study. And considering this, considering the companies listed or registered as mining, around 88% of those mining are small and macro scale mining scale company that has no funding, no investment, no technical support. And this is the target of the Handbag mine investment. We are looking for companies in this level that wants to develop an early stage project. Here's our Brazil plan and our roadmap. We focusing during the next 10 years, listed more than 100 projects in our platform, raising more than $100,000 million reais, a very good revenue also, more than 100 million, with a good EBITDA and very aggressive investment in market. Here is our more about our number. We are looking for more than 100 projects listed in 10 years, with 34 projects as exit. What we are named as exit are projects that we move to another level, like sell or exit to a major company or running as a big company. So we are looking for projects with more than 80% of successful. So it represents a good support for the mining. Our differential, we have a good product, scalable, is disruptive, is replicable and auditable, is a really innovation product. The market is open, is a huge market. The team, all of us are experienced, know-how in the mining market, engagement, discipline, and skill in the game. So we received the CVM approval in last February, so we are done to run as a fintech. We are, of course, with BCCC since February. We are developing incubating in the innovation center in Oshawa, the Synergy Lab. Here's the team. Myself, Emerson, or Ricardo, as everybody know. Alexandre Ribeiro is our business director. Francisco and Giorgio are board member. This is our site. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. And also I have some questions for you. Can you explain more about which bottleneck is handbag solving in mining?
Well, we need to understand that there is no sustainable development in the 21st century with no small scale mining or early stage development. The big projects and the major company needs this kind of development. So, but the company is the bottleneck is the major or junior companies looking for projects with low risk. And it's better to split the risk in 100 guys or 100 investors than one investor only. So this kind of project has risk, of course, ESG risk, support, technical, and this is what handbag will solve. So we are expert in mining, we're expert in 4101, we are expert in business development in mining. So this is the bottleneck that we understand that there is a level, a basic level where we can solve some problems.
Great. And why will handbag revolutionize the early stage market in mining?
Yeah, when you talk about small scale or early stage projects, we need to understand that this level need responsible mining activities. Is to say Brazil has lots of small scale mining, small scale projects with no investment and no technical support. When you think about the ESG protocols, we need to consider that those projects need like an organism to solve these questions and integrate this with the investor, because they have the opportunity, they have the good project, but they have no money or no investment to connect the expert guys with the investor. And the handbag born to connect those guys into the official platform.
Great. Thank you, Ricardo, for everything. And any other words about your project?
Well, we are very We will be in PDAC in July with some news. We are ready to present the first project listed in our platform. We have a gold project that we start to raise some investment. So during the PDAC, you will have this new. Probably we'll have this done for PDAC. So we are done, and during the second semester we're running. The plan is 3 projects, 2 gold and 1 phosphate.
Wow, nice, great news. So thank you, Ricardo, again. And now, last but not least, I would like to invite Fred Newman, CEO of Simut Technologies, to deliver his speech about Simut. So Fred, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. It's great to be here and love to talk about Simut. So let me click on the slideshow. So we are Simut. We launched commercially last year, but we've been developing the platform during the pandemics. We are a mental health support platform based on your language and cultural background. We connect clients to specialists in Canada and worldwide through their language and cultural backgrounds so that they can have an improved mental health service and experience. And how do we do that? We have a secure video conference tool for sessions. We have easy scheduling. The payment is through the platform. You can message back and forth between therapists and clients. And we promote our therapists in Simut's events and all of that, including that our algorithm is patented as well. And why we do it? We believe that wellness starts with mental health, and everyone deserves for better health, mental health system in the world. And we are a solution for that, for global workforces, for example. And it's more than time to launch a platform that makes it accessible for everyone, especially immigrants and minorities. Some of the statistics, in Canada, 1 out of 4 workers are immigrants. 22.3% of the population are visible minorities, and more than 1 million in Canada identify as LGBTQIA2S+. In our platform, we have now over 410 specialists, which 20 of them are LGBTQIA2+, over 10 are First Nations, Indigenous peoples, and several specialists are visible minorities. We want to close the mental health gap in ethno-diversity and culture, and specifically for the mining industry, we have currently 16,500 indigenous people employed in the minerals and metals sector, and 1% of the immigrants every year come to Canada to work in the mining sector. And we can create, for example, corporate walled gardens and white labels and other business packages that we're going to talk about. Some of our partnerships include BCCC and Advika Health. We've been in the national media, including CP24 and Global. Our unique advantage is that there are over 150 digital mental health support platforms, but we are the only ones focusing on the issue of language and cultural background. So you not only have a mental health platform to match you with mental health issues, but it starts in the language and cultural background issues, which makes it much more right on target. Some of our advantages, we have services in more than 35 languages, speaking from 25 countries, and diverse cultural backgrounds. There's a lot of different specialties, such as psychologists, psychotherapists. We have group mentors, art therapists, and so on. The platform is tailored to your service needs, to your business needs. And we are here to increase productivity and efficiency in your member communities. For patients and clients, we have a matchmaking for your employees based on cultural background and language. Every patient can schedule sessions based on their availability. We have flexible prices, and we offer promo codes with special discounts. We have the direct messaging between clients and specialists, and we have access to webinars. We have a bi-monthly webinar for our community specialists and a bi-monthly webinar for our general community. For the specialists, we provide all tools they need, and they can track sessions, send messages, and we can market their services in their profile with introductory videos about themselves in up to three different languages. This is our passion. We want to make mental health more accessible for everyone across Canada, supporting our community to embrace diversity and promote inclusiveness. So if you need your workforce to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion, please come talk to us at Simwood. We support everyone's access to better mental health, no matter their location, language, culture, and background. We'd love to help you. This is myself and Rodrigo, my founder and friend for 25 years. That's how it all started, when he wanted to have a therapist in Toronto speaking Portuguese from Brazil, and it took him more than 2 months to find one. And now with Simwood, you find a specialist in your language with less than a week. This is our multicultural team. We have our software team, we have our mental health team, and we have our business developers and our mentors and advisors. Thank you so much, and we are open for questions.
Thank you, Fred, for your presentation. And mental health is definitely a topic that is in everyone's minds and everyone is talking about right now. So considering there are other mental health platforms in the market, what is unique about Simwood?
Yeah, so when you, let's say that you have a mental health initiative in your company, or you don't have and you're looking for one, imagine that we are in a multicultural country. We have over 7 million newcomers here, and different and diverse visible minorities. And so when you try to find mental health support for them, you should start by matching them with their culture and cultural background and their language, because it makes things much easier, and it helps save money for them and for your company, because they're more productive and they can feel happier, and we can track them for your company. And yes, starting from language and cultural background, we are the only ones doing that in North America.
Nice, yeah, wonderful. And another question is, according to the Mining Mental Health Project, fatigue, lack of sleep, and PTSD are 3 problems that affect the mining industry above the national average. What can you tell us about the impact of fatigue on productivity?
Yeah, that's an amazing...
And sorry, and how therapy can help people to have better sleep.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So that was a great project for the mining sector that helped the whole industry to learn more about mental health. And so therapy, how can it help have a better sleep? So with psychology therapy, it helps to develop strategies to have a good sleep hygiene, and besides a change in the sleeping routine, many times, bad eating habits, lack of physical activities, and stress turns into anxiety, and therefore a bad night of sleep. And about fatigue on productivity, it generates more stress hormones, decreasing productivity. And a psychologist might help with strategies for a better communication with coworkers, changing daily habits, and establishing goals for a better quality of life. And when you partner with Simwood, we offer this initial workshop, webinars, and so that we can understand how is your workforce formed, like which cultures, which languages, and so that we can help fight the PTSD issues, sleeping issues, and fatigue.
Nice. Yeah, great. Thank you, Fred. And so we still have some minutes left. So I would like to ask 2 more questions to you guys, Wagner, Ingrid, Fred, and Ricardo. I believe that Abadias had another meeting, so he left. So these questions, I think we can, I will ask both of them together because I think they are kind of related. So what are the main challenges of starting a startup? And for those that I know that are here in Canada, especially like Fred, Ricardo, and Ingrid, do you think that you faced some different challenges being immigrants? And what tips can you give for those who are starting this journey like you guys? Who wants to start?
Ladies first.
Okay, Ingrid, so.
Of course, we can start there. Hi. I would say that it is quite different. I've been an entrepreneur in Brazil and then in Canada as well, so I have experience with both worlds. I do think that our networking in our home country definitely helps. So like when you go to university, you meet people in your past jobs and things like that, and you have all this networking. And when you come to a new country, everyone has a networking but you. So you have to start building that from the ground and connecting with people to be able to enter, get investment, enter new companies and all of that you don't know, right? So I think that there's definitely a challenge there. It is... I think the most challenging part that I see for most immigrants who start a business here in Canada is understanding not only the language, so sometimes people have language barriers, but also understanding the cultural aspect of it. Because culturally, Canada seems very similar to Brazil, but especially in business, it can be quite different in the way that people communicate. And that's super important. So those would be my 2 cents on it. I can't remember what was your second question, but I'll let other people speak first.
Thank you. I don't know, Fred?
I can go next because I was the last, so I have the answer. Like from my experience, we are a pandemic product, right? We started our activities during the pandemics, actually in November 2019, but we started to ramp it up during the pandemics. So we've been through different accelerators here and incubators, and that helped us a lot. We loved like having mentors here. We got a lot of great feedback from them, and that helped us to improve what we are doing. For the Brazilian entrepreneurs, we used to have a startup program which was much harder in the past, and now it became more accessible. So please feel encouraged to come here, because I mean it's a great country to become an entrepreneur if you're not, or a great country to as an entry step to the North American market.
Great, thank you, Fred. I don't know if
Go ahead,
Ricardo
Wagner.
wants to talk, or Wagner.
Well, Wagner.
You want to be the last, right, Ricardo?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I think a tip for those who are starting is, like Ingrid said, you need a very good team on your side, good partners, good other entrepreneurs, mentors, like Fred said. I think we have to be humble to ask for help and understand that we will be wrong a lot of times, and we need to ask for help. Don't fall in love for the idea of solution, fall in love for the problem that you want to solve. Then you will find the right path to solve that problem.
Great, thank you, Wagner.
Yeah, well, I agree with the guys, and I would like to highlight culture and language is a big barrier for me. I believe for most of the startups that want to come to Canada. For me, there is another important point: the venture capital. It's interesting because we are talking about my company. It's like a venture capital, to provide investment for early stage project, but we also need the venture capital. And in Brazil and in Canada, we have the same difficulty to get venture capital or to receive investment, because investors and the companies ask, okay, your business is under development, is testing. No, so test first. And to test first, we need to invest a lot of money. So it's a challenger. Every day is a challenger. So that's it for me, is the big issues to run. Need money.
Great, thank you, Ricardo. And I'll ask everyone to give the final considerations, please. Ingrid, you can start.
I would say that, like, just in terms of your questions again, I think that entrepreneurship can be a very bumpy ride, but it's totally worth it, at least for me. And I would say that going back to, again, like, where would I start? And I always start with networking, knowing who you're contacting, why you're contacting them to, and also helping other entrepreneurs once you get there. I think we keep forgetting, some people keep forgetting about that. Like, also when you have the contacts, making sure that you're making it available to other people that don't necessarily have them. And in terms of Stacey Docs, I'm always open for a conversation. Show our platform. We have a great demo and we have a great team in Portuguese and in English to present it to whoever has an interest in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid.
I can go
Wagner?
now.
Oh, okay,
I can go now. Well, we are in the PDAC in 2 to 3 weeks. Very excited to provide the first project to list it in the company. We expect to receive a good, some good investors. No, the market is very excited when we started to put the idea on the table, so we receive some good feedbacks, and we are done. So in Brazil and here in Canada, we are working hard to provide to the market a new cycle of investment in mining companies, in mining projects. No?
Thank you, Ricardo. Wagner or Fred?
Okay. So I appreciate again for inviting us to participate. I leave my contacts for anyone of participants and other people here today to reach for us to talk, and we understand their data, and maybe we can help all the other mining companies in their journey of digitalization and decarbonation. So we are available, and let's chat and see how we can work together.
Thank you, Wagner. And Fred, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mariana and the BCCC, Peter, everyone there for inviting us to this important event. We know that the mining sector is one of the most affected sectors in mental health. So we'd love to talk to you, to all the mining companies in this event about mental health and how Simud can help you with achieving your goals as an organization in terms of well-being and mental health. So thank you so much for being here and learning a lot from all our friends here at this event.
Thank you, Fred. And I want to thank you guys for participating here today. It was a pleasure having you here presenting your companies. And if anyone here wants to connect with the startups presented today, please connect with me at marketing@brascanchamber.org, and I'll be more than happy to make the connection. So now I'd like to invite Peter Hawkins, Manager Director at Mellowhawk Logistics and co-chair of the BCCC, for our closing remarks. Peter, over to you, and thank you.
Over to me, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I actually, I enjoyed this very much, and I want to thank Alvaro Bragança from Promon Engenharia for really describing a fully digital approach to integration, talking about safety and, of course, the digital twin. Leandro Rossi, who is at the Mining Hub in Minas, and he was our moderator. He, by the way, everybody should know, he is an expert in ESG. And in all the chats, we listed everybody's LinkedIn contacts, so you can certainly reach out to people there. Luke Mahony is Director of Innovation and Technology at Vale, and he was talking about how important it is that we are optimizing today, thinking differently, managing the showstoppers, and changing our mindset. So we need to automate what we can and reduce waste and enable others to enable us. I really admired what he said in his presentation. Steve Gravel, manager of the Center for Smart Mining at Cambrian College, who facilitate the adoption of new technology in the industry, growing the industry both upstream and downstream. And also, he didn't mind pitching a couple of companies too, Ionic Mechatronics with their automated drill rod handling, and Sophie with the wearable device for minor biometrics. I thought that was pretty smart of him to shove that in there. And of course, we have the wonderful startup pitches from Abdias Gomez from Pronto, Ingrid Polini from Safety Docs. And as you know, Ingrid sits on every damn committee we have. So she's really a wonderful community organizer. Wagner Neto, co-founder of Industry Care. Thank you so much for your insight, Wagner. Ricardo of Handbag Investments with his very sophisticated crowdfunding platform. Everybody should pay attention to him at PDAC and give him your money. That's what I think you should do. And Fred Newman from Simud. The wonderful thing about Fred is I know it's all about mental health, but his group actually provides services not only in different languages and cultures, but also different needs. And so if you actually look at the people who are associated with him, they are covering many different areas of real value for people when you come to a place, a new community with new languages, new cultural biases. I also thought this was very interesting for an IST technology panel to be packed with so much philosophical thought, because automation really does open up the philosophical mind. We know what we want, but we need to know why and what impact that tech will have. Webinars like this are a great opportunity to showcase new technology, show the amazing advances, but the real value of meetings like this are the opportunities to show not only what is happening, what is developing, but also what is needed. What do companies want? Where are they going? And what are their expectations? Imagine you're developing new technology, and now you can understand what the potential buyer wants to buy, what they see in their future. Meetings like this are integral to understanding where industry is going. I want to express regrets again from our IST committee chair, Marcelo Sarkis, who really wishes he was participating and he would have had a great deal of insight in this, but unfortunately he is a victim of COVID. But I do want to thank Mariana, our Senior Business Development Manager, for handling all the details, and of course, Khalil, our superstar intern working in the background. Thank you all, and back to you, Mariana.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for everything and all your help and support. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for being here today, and thank all our sponsoring companies for the partnership, our platinum sponsors, Vale, Toronto Stock Exchange, and TSX Venture Exchange, Sescom Barrier, Baker McKenzie, Sigma Lithium Resources, and 4B Mining. Our gold sponsors, Aerocopper Mineração Caraíba, Export Development Canada, Wheaton Precious Metals, Equinox Gold, Yamana Gold, and APN Capital Brazil. And our silver sponsors, Brookfield, BMA Law, Landing Mining, Jaguar Mining, Bemisa, Horizonte Minerals, Alvarez & Marçal, Promon Engenharia, and Kinross. And also thank the members of our mining committee and IST committee for their inputs, insights, and support. And before you go and network a little, I would like to tell you that this was actually our last virtual session. The Brazil-Canada Mining Insights fertilizers and trends and opportunities. That would be our last session, had to be postponed, and the new date will be released soon. So I guess I'll see you all on June 13th and 14th for our already traditional in-person events during the 16th Brazil-Canada Conference at PDAC. And the ticket is will be on sale soon, I'll let you know. And we would like to thank you again for your presence here today. Also thank our sponsors, partners, members, guests, staff, and volunteers for all your support. And if you want to learn more about the benefits of becoming a member of the BCCC, please come talk to me at marketing@brascanchamber.org. Also, please follow us on social media at Brascan Chamber on all channels to be informed of all our activities. Have a great week. Obrigada, thank you, and see you soon, guys.